the Justice Department still very clearly believes they've solved this crime. He shot Charlie Kirk because his lover is a trans or in the process of. That's the Justice Department narrative. Now, significant MAGA voices are coming forward and saying that's absolutely untrue. Not only is that absolutely untrue, but this is a cover-up. It's a whitewash. It's a cover-up. The Trump administration is telling a bald lie.
Michael Wolff.
We're here.
We're here.
You're here.
I'm here. I know. I'm very pleased to be back in the office, in our studio, after 2 weeks sitting at home nursing hip surgery. And now I'm back and ready to get back on the tennis court with you, the verbal tennis court.
Shoot.
Well,
shoot. Serve.
I'm going to lob. But first we have to discuss where we're going. Because there may be new people who haven't seen this podcast. There may be people who've watched it occasionally.
We are going inside Trump's head. But I want to say we are going there because other people don't. That the whole narrative about Donald Trump is an exterior narrative. People watching what this guy does and trying to make sense of it. And our thesis is you can't.
Right.
You got to come from the other side. This is all the product of one of the most peculiar minds ever to assume political leadership.
And I have often found, and certainly as I was growing up, it very difficult to follow politics because it was always covered in this dry sort of policy format way, which made it very uninteresting.
Well, politicians are dry. Politics should be dry. Politicians, at their best, are dry. They are policy people, technocrats.
Right, who get things done, right, and who don't want to make it. The world is in balance when politics is boring and dry. The world now is out of balance because politics is so... it is, to say the least, too interesting. Well, and Donald Trump is a creature of television, as we have both talked about frequently. He knows how to perform. We are living at a time of unprecedented social media and access to audiences, and every day he puts on a different performance.
Well, but even beyond that, like an actor or like many actors, he's a sociopath.
Right, I'm thinking of my actor friends.
So it is all about his attention. What can the attention he can get, the attention that he needs. So I mean that's a totally a political motivation, the likes of which we really never have seen. When it's just all about attention, all about his needs. So that's why we are inside Trump's head.
Right, trying to figure out what his next move will be. And the thing that I find so extraordinary about him is just his ability to hold that attention. Even the most sociopathic actors need a bit of downtime. But one senses with Donald Trump, he doesn't want downtime. Downtime would be horrible for Donald Trump. Downtime is where he spirals. What he wants is just the attention on him all the time.
Because there is no there in there.
Right. Well, we're beginning to discover that as we poke around, right, with our magnifying glasses. I think this time we're going in with white coats and magnifying glasses, and possibly we're going to scrape some cells and look at them under the microscope. That's my metaphor instead of the caving metaphor.
That was a very long intro today. So
it doesn't have to be the intro.
On to the news.
On to the news. Okay, well, the news I am obsessed by is the Supreme Court has turned down Ghislaine Maxwell's plea for clemency and her determination to try and get her 20-year sentence for sex trafficking overturned. And as we saw yesterday, this puts our friend Donald Trump in a very tricky position.
Yeah, and just let me say, this is no surprise that she was turned down.
Of course not. I mean, it was ludicrous that it would even get to the Supreme Court, even this Supreme Court.
Right. Well, it did not get to the Supreme Court. They
refused to put it on their docket.
Right. And so, but the interesting moment was when then he was confronted on this issue by Caitlin Collins.
Of CNN.
And she asked if he was going to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. And at that moment, he put on his Epstein face.
His Epstein face. I love it.
And the Epstein face is like, Epstein, yes.
That kind of rings a bell. Epstein.
Yes. Yeah. And
did we work together years ago on a construction project, maybe? Epstein.
Palm Beach. And that's how he responded about Ghislaine. Yes.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah,
haven't heard that name in a long time. Just 3 weeks ago,
right.
He sent the number two, his personal lawyer, the number two in the Justice Department, down to where she is in prison, and
he sent Todd Blanche to Tallahassee, which has nice alliteration, and then a week later, Ghislaine Maxwell is suddenly transferred to a low-security jail in Texas, where she has a sister living nearby.
Club Fed, yes.
Club Fed.
But Trump is,
Well, and then also he says he has to look at it. Yeah. He has to look into it. I'm going to look into it.
Well, will you pardon her? Well, we'll discuss it with my Justice Department.
I am told.
I have to discuss it.
Right.
Maybe.
It's so. If you were going on his Epstein face, which I'm now going to start looking out for. Would you say what would you say the odds are that Ghislaine does get a pardon from the president?
Overwhelming,
right? Because she's now thinking about all the things she's got on him, right?
Well, I think a deal has been cut.
Oh, you think the deal's already been cut?
No, totally.
Right.
Yes. So when how soon? By Thursday, possibly. I'd say more conservatively, we're out 6 months or so.
Wow. But, that's just astonishing. I mean, does it depend on the release of the Epstein files? And what's happened to the Epstein files? Because we know they've now got the votes. There were the special elections, which were won by Democrats in Arizona, and I can't remember where the other one was. Was it Virginia? And now there are 218 votes for the release of the Epstein file because 4 Republicans crossed the House, Thomas Massie and the 3 women, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and who's the other one? Nancy Mace.
I think that sooner or later there will be a vote to release the Epstein files per se. What that ultimately results in, we don't know, because they don't know. They're saying release something and we don't know what it is that we're asking you to release.
But we do know because Elon tweeted it out and then deleted his tweet that Donald Trump is in it many times.
Yeah, but we don't know that. So what we will ultimately see is pieces of this that come out redacted every which way. So this is we've built this up as a solution to this, and it is not a solution. But nevertheless, and it will continue to be this roiled issue.
Okay. So also part of this roiled issue is the suggestion that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. And this is all caught up inside this new, or these new conspiracies coming out of the Charlie Kirk murder, which appeared at first to be very straightforward. It was a guy called Tyler Robinson. He was caught on video jumping down off the roof where it looked like he had the easiest access to assassinate Charlie Kirk. And now it feels like all those things are up for grabs.
Well, let's delineate the sides here. So that's not the consensus. The Justice Department still very clearly believes they've solved this crime. They have their culprit.
Tyler Robinson.
It happened. I mean, he shot Charlie Kirk because his lover is a trans or in the process of. That's the Justice Department narrative. Now, significant MAGA voices are coming forward and saying that's absolutely untrue. Not only is that absolutely untrue, but this is a cover-up. It's a whitewash. It's a cover-up. The Trump administration is telling a bald lie.
Okay.
Tyler Robinson, and this, I am channeling what they're saying. I believe all this is nutso. But their view is that Tyler Robinson is a fall guy. They set him up.
Right.
That Erica Kirk, the wife,
the widow
is, let me see if I can extrapolate this properly, a sleeper agent somehow connected to her participation in a Donald Trump beauty pageant. So Trump and Erica Kirk go way back in
because she was Miss Colorado, right?
Establishing this sleeper relationship. She's activated to monitor Charlie Kirk, and then appears to be complicit in the MAGA view, or the view of some of these MAGA voices, in her husband's murder. But the real culprit in the murder is Israel. And they have murdered Charlie Kirk because he was expressing doubts about Israel's actions in Gaza, and then apparently about to break with Israel and the general Republican Party in a much more dramatic way. So Charlie Kirk was therefore, at that point, taken out. Now, the implications here, I mean, I think the largest this is, again, let me repeat, this is real nutso stuff. But
I will say
never discount nutso on the right.
Well, and also I went down a spiral of this stuff, and there is so much of it out there online. I mean, it's all over the place.
No, and it's picked apart. It's real conspiracy stuff. I mean, it's like all of these conspiracy. Nothing is what it should be. Every detail is compromised by another detail. Real rabbit hole stuff.
And also, ironically, what's interesting is that at the head of the FBI, you've got Keystone Cash Patel, as we call him in the Daily Beast, and you've got Dan Bongino as his number two, who were enormous conspiracy theorists before they got into that job and have had to wind it back in.
Trump himself, of course, is a significant conspiracist.
Right, the birth certificate for Barack Obama being one of the first conspiracy theories.
So, but this is, so the implications, the most dramatic implications are these people, these MAGA people, all of them heretofore pillars of the Trump movement,
of the base,
are now saying, you're lying, you're involved in a cover-up, you're guilty. And then this doesn't go, you killed Charlie Kirk, essentially. So So we have a set of these kinds of breaches in the MAGA wall.
Which is why this is interesting and why we're taking it seriously, because there are lots of conspiracy theories out there that we don't pay attention to. But this is interesting because it suggests a riff in the MAGA base.
Yes. So and they come together, the nature of the rifts that are occurring here and converging in Charlie Kirk. We have the instance of his death. You made that up, cover up. Why? Because you, the Trump White House, are complicit in Israel's savage attack on Gaza, continuing attack. And we, these MAGA voices, no longer accept that. So, and this is a big breach. Support for Israel has been a pillar again of the Republican leadership and of the evangelical movement. And so, with Trump at the center of it. Trump has been. Trump does not say no to Bibi Netanyahu. It would appear, and actually these MAGA voices insist on that. One of the other points is, and they keep repeating this, is that Bibi Netanyahu is said to have said something like, "I run Trump" or "I run America."
I think a lot of people are saying that.
So, and there's an enormous umbrage. Tucker Carlson is very much, how could anyone say this about my country? I can't tolerate that. This is a humiliation.
So let's talk a little bit about where is Tucker Carlson on this, because this has gone from being one of those fringe conversations to suddenly the big MAGA voices, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, are now discussing this.
Nick Fuentes, very important.
Nick Fuentes, who's gone on a tirade about Erica Kirk, saying that, nothing was normal about the way she behaved at that memorial. He was saying that there was something strange and odd about the whole thing, and he wasn't buying it. But Tucker is one of the foremost voices in this community. You've known him for years. You've known Tucker for years. I remember him when he was on MSNBC as a contributor, when I first moved to America. Where is he on all this now?
Well, he's a central part of it, and I have known him, and I've liked Tucker, and we've had a long relationship, over 25 years, basically. And I've spent time talking to Tucker about many of these issues, not directly about Charlie Kirk, but about certainly about his relationship to Trump and his relationship to evangelicals, and I'm pretty well versed in Tuckerism.
Is Tucker a Christian nationalist, which is this movement that's emerging out of Charlie Kirk's death?
I think he is aligning himself with Christian nationalism, and we should define that because it's actually in the process of being defined. This was a notion that really never existed or existed only on the fringe, and now is moving into the center, into a MAGA, again, another pillar of the MAGA movement. But I think you should let's look at Tucker, and he's representative in this way, as someone thinking about what comes after Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
And Tucker has political ambitions. I've spoken to him at length about this, whether he will ultimately run for something.
Do you mean president?
Yes, I mean, well, political ambitions. Yes, but
including what is that would be more interesting to him than what he's doing,
including running for president. Yes,
only meaning that it's hard to imagine that being a senator or being a governor would be as interesting or certainly as lucrative as what he's doing now.
But never say never. As one, Tucker is still a relatively young man. Were he to suddenly think I have a political future, how you would triangulate that?
To getting there. Okay.
I mean, nobody wants to be a congressman; they all want to be president.
Right.
So,
what does the senator say to himself when he looks in the mirror? Good morning, Mr. President, or good morning, Mrs. President. I should throw in there too.
So anyway, so Tucker is looking at this at the field of play. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that if you're Tucker Carlson or and anyone else with designs, you have to look at J.D. Vance.
Who has very quickly moved into that space.
J.D. Vance is obviously, in terms of the Republican nomination in 2028, the front runner. He has all of the advantages given to a vice president, and perhaps given his youth and his financial backers, perhaps more. So then the question is going to be, how do you, and he also will likely have the support of Donald Trump.
Will he, though?
Donald Trump is,
I was going to say that's a mixed bag.
Yes, and Donald Trump is
the poison chalice of
Donald Trump is,
support.
as we know, a bitch. So we don't know what he will do. But let's just assume at this point.
And I would like to point out that on previous podcasts, you have specifically said the last thing Donald Trump wants is to be followed by a Republican.
Yeah, no, he will undermine whoever it is.
Exactly.
But therefore, if you're looking toward that nomination, you got to say, well, how do we what's the edge on J.D. Vance? And if you triangulate Vance to be on the wrong side of Charlie Kirk, so let's reconfigure this here, that the mantle that you want is not the Donald Trump's mantle, it's Charlie Kirk's mantle.
And let us not forget that J.D. Vance flew Charlie Kirk's coffin back from the University of Utah, the hospital in Utah where Charlie was treated, to Arizona where he lived. Usha Vance
and
emerged.
that will shortly, if it has not already, become part of the
conspiracy.
Yes.
There was no coffin. It wasn't true. It wasn't Charlie in there.
Exactly.
But they had Usha Vance descending the stairs of Air Force 2 with Erica Kirk. They were holding hands. Erica Kirk, I think Usha Vance was the only person that got a shout out, apart from Donald Trump and Charlie, in the 30-minute speech that Erica Kirk gave.
Because they are co-conspirators, of course.
Of course.
So
can I raise one thing here which I find interesting about Charlie Kirk is that the way he was referred to at the memorial was almost as if he were an orphan. Where are Charlie Kirk's parents? I mean, who are Charlie Kirk's parents?
Now you're part of the conspiracy.
I'm a part of the conspiracy, but I'm fascinated that Erica didn't give them a shout-out during her speech, which I thought was impressive. I thought, stand up 11 days after your husband's been murdered, very impressive. Nonetheless, to me, it was very odd that you didn't mention his parents, who have lost a son. You don't mention his sister.
Well, she was the sleeper agent put in to separate Charlie Kirk from his parents and from his family. So therefore, obviously, we've disappeared them.
I have never read Lord of the Rings, but I feel like all these conspiracy theory people have read Lord of the Rings, and that's the fundamental thing, that it's the sort of fertile territory for these wild conspiracy theories.
But look at this again, and I will say not so, but look at this as on the political playing field. Mm-hmm. And the political playing field is looking for the MAGA movement post-Trump.
Right.
Someone to lead the MAGA movement who is not J.D. Vance, to separate it from Trump, basically. And so among the things that you have now, you have Epstein. The MAGA people are obviously rabid on the Epstein issue. Now you have the Charlie Kirk issue, the cover-up of St. Charlie's murder. And also you now have, which you have never had before, this breach on Israel. And these are major things, and they are a serious breach with Donald Trump.
So if you're inside Donald Trump's head, where you have spent a lot of time, and I'm frantically trying to catch up, what is he thinking about this, and how does he outmaneuver these conspiracies?
I think that he is. I'm not sure he has his head around this yet. I mean, I really think that this is pretty new at this point. And I think it's kind of bewildering. So what happens? I mean, there was recently a call from Tablet magazine. Tablet magazine is a conservative Jewish magazine, very quite right wing, very much on the Trump side, and of course very much on the Israeli side. And they're calling for let's cut off Tucker Carlson. Let's eliminate him from the.
And what does it mean? Let's cut off
from the true believers.
But how can they cut him off? What does it mean?
Well,
cut him off?
They can't. But nevertheless, what they're saying is, if you are they're just setting up a showdown. If you're a real Trumper, a true Trumper, a true believer,
Tucker.
yes. And so again, we're just seeing these two sides of an emerging conflict.
And Megyn Kelly did an interesting podcast where she was talking about Charlie Kirk and some of his more conservative Jewish funders who had been at the beginning of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization, had, as I think Charlie was spending more time on college campuses and understanding that there was less support for Israel than traditionally because of Gaza, he was coming under pressure from them. And there was, in fact, a sort of summit at Bill Ackman's home.
Come to Jesus.
How do we describe his eyebrows? The caterpillar eyebrowed financier who somehow got dragged into all this, where some people who were there said that Charlie Kirk was being intimidated by people to toe the Israel line, and he wanted more freedom. And Bill Ackman had brought people together in his lovely Hamptons home to discuss this. And then afterwards Bill Ackman had to come out and put out a tweet saying, actually, I didn't try to intimidate Charlie. I would never do that. But nevertheless, Charlie felt that.
Yeah, no, again, what we have here is the makings of a serious breach in the Trump base. I mean, that's what's significant about this.
So fascinating to see how he dodges it or keeps the ball moving down the road.
And let's come back to this Christian nationalist thing. Because
so Christian nationalism is separate to evangelism.
Okay, obviously there's a crossover, but the evangelicals have traditionally been not all that interested in politics. They've really only had one issue, one central issue, and that's abortion. The Christian nationalists have a whole they have a wide political agenda. Including a family values,
right, get married young,
agenda,
have children,
but also a foreign policy agenda, and also an agenda that has to do with equity, with the whole. Essentially a very conservative view of individual rights.
And it's not a globalist foreign policy outlook, it's an America first. It's a sort of essentially isolationist.
Yes, but that becomes actually a very meaningful foreign policy view, and a view very much antagonistic to the Trump White House. And it is, let's not avoid the question. It is fundamentally, there's a reason it is called Christian nationalism. It's a white movement. It's tinged with all kinds of racial or racist undertones and overtones, and it is Christian nationalism necessarily anti-Semitic.
So if I'm Donald Trump, am I thinking, how does this impact my development on the Gaza Riviera? That Tony Blair is going to contract manage for me. Is Tony Blair going to be basically the general contractor of Gaza?
Yeah. And also Trump's relationship with Netanyahu, which could not be, by all appearances, closer. And whereas the Christian nationalists have now to them, Netanyahu is genocidal, a word that they now use, and a war criminal. So I don't know. This is a pretty serious breach.
It's extremely interesting. Are we becoming conspiracy theorists here? It's very hard not to go down.
Well, no. We're just analyzing the politics of this. This is ridiculous. It's nutso. Everything they're saying about Charlie Kirk and who murdered Charlie Kirk and why is just. It's
cray.
If you've
just joined us, we think it's cray.
So that's. But that doesn't matter. This is just as most conspiracy theories are. It has a different purpose than the truth.
Right.
And its purpose there is to take Charlie Kirk. It's a fight over the body of Charlie Kirk, effectively. Charlie Kirk has been, partly because of the Trump White House, has been built up to be this, the baby Jesus of the MAGA movement.
Well, and Trump's successor, right? A lot of people saying, he was going to be Trump's successor. He wasn't quite old enough, but Trump was saying, he would have been president.
Well, whatever. He was the baby Jesus, the future, the savior, the whatever. And now the question is who inherits that mantle? Who is the real? Who would Charlie Kirk have bestowed his blessings on? And it's interesting that Charlie Kirk, much of what Charlie Kirk was about was a religious movement masked as a political movement. But now this really becomes a religious issue. He is the Jesus figure that people are fighting over. Who is the real believer, the true loyalist to Charlie Kirk, not to Donald Trump. And that's the interesting thing at this point.
And how do Christian nationalists who, certainly as Charlie Kirk would say it, get married early, if you're a man, be a spiritual leader to your family, have lots of children. Many of the values he was espousing are traditional American values. How do Christian nationalists square Donald Trump's own very complicated past with women?
Well, that goes to, and I think that goes to many of the Epstein questions. Much of Donald Trump's political career is a flight from a lifetime of sexual malfeasance. And that's not just Epstein, but it's
it's the 28 women that have accused him of sexual abuse over the years.
Yeah, and grabbed them by the pussy, and E. Jean Carroll, and again and again and again and again, plus Epstein. And Epstein is actually probably the deepest, darkest pool on this. Trump said recently in frustration about this ongoing Epstein thing, that Palm Beach in the 90s was a different time.
Was that where they shared that wonderful secret?
I'll say it was a different time. Or as Epstein used to say, Palm Beach in the 90s was crazy.
And that's where they had their wonderful secret that Donald Trump wrote in the birthday letter. Of course, he didn't really write it. Someone else. Of all the birthday letters, his was the only hoax birthday letter.
So this is, again, all of these issues are now converging in. Let's think of the right word. I was going to say antipathy to Donald Trump on the MAGA side, but I don't think that's it. It is not. It is really just a recognition that the lame duck period has begun, and someone will replace Donald Trump. The MAGA movement will now transition into something else, and everybody is trying to figure out what that is. With Charlie Kirk now a piece of that, a useful piece,
another figure from the grave. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein still having an impact from the grave. Charlie Kirk having more of an impact from the grave.
Yeah, no, I mean, dead people are very valuable, especially to conspiracies, and also to politics, because they don't talk back.
Well, we talk back. Gosh, there's a lot to think of there. But what is fascinating is this idea that a post-Trump future is now underway.
Very, very, very much. And the strands of this, I mean, this Christian nationalism is a real interesting and scary development. And the fight over Charlie Kirk is a kind of a really interesting family feud.
Well, and completely unexpected too, because of the awful manner of his death, something that one couldn't have predicted, as is so much in Donald Trump's reign. No,
and this cleaves so cleanly. This is the Trump administration has offered a very clear, very concise narrative for what happened here. And the other side is now saying completely a lie.
All right, Michael, we'll be back on Thursday to discuss more how this story develops. Will Donald Trump have pardoned Ghislaine Maxwell by Thursday? Yes or no? Yes or no, sir? I think it's too soon, isn't it? Too soon.
No, it's, yeah. As I said,
6 months.
6 to 9 months, yeah.
6 to 9 months. If you have been, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to go to wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to The Daily Beast. You can become a member of the Daily Beast community, and we're independent media, so we appreciate your support. And we like the comments, don't we?
We study them.
We do. We study them. We devour the comments. We share the comments. We disagree with some of the comments. And we've got a few that we're going to address today. Here is a good one from Beth 3471. Assuming Trump does not have a third term, good conversation for us today because we're already talking about a post-Trump future. What does he do next?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
He returns to Mar-a-Lago, still the king of the Republican Party, and he does exactly what he did the last time he returned to Mar-a-Lago, which, among other things, includes a lot of golf.
But the last time he was at Mar-a-Lago, he was also plotting to come back to the White House. Is there a way he could do that? Well,
I don't think that really matters. Remember, the thing about Donald Trump is not that he should be the president. It's that he should be Donald Trump. So as long as he is in his own mind and in the mind of the base, Donald Trump, he's a happy man. And does that mean, yes, he will conduct himself as the once and future president until he dies?
Well, the always president. All right, here's another question from Peter Sell, 1796. Aside from all things Epstein and or Putin, is there another person or entity which makes him paranoid or perhaps fearful?
His wife.
I was just going. We've seen Melania a little bit more recently. Is that significant? I mean, she was at the Windsor Castle.
I don't think she's.
She was at the UN. She was at Windsor Castle. She got stuck on the elevator with him.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're.
You don't think
rekindling?
Okay, they're not rekindling. They're not rekindling because we know that Barron has, in theory, gone down to the NYU campus in DC, right? And we know that she likes to be near Barron.
That's
so
what
is
they
she
say.
there,
Yeah,
or
possibly.
do you think she's still in Trump Tower?
Well, she still is based here. Yes,
She's still based in New York.
She's not in the White House.
She's not in the White House. Okay, and as you say, when she turns up at the White House, people treat her as a guest. She's probably got to sign in. Here's a good question from Kristen Rice Simonson. Michael, question. To what extent does Trump's chronic lack of sleep affect his mental capabilities? Are the Adderall rumors from the past true?
I had, and I would have to look back on one of my books in which cites a specific drug that he's on, a relatively low dosage upper called diethylene propionate. That is according to Jeffrey Epstein.
Interesting. A low dosage upper.
Yes. But which I think is a factor. Is the sleep a factor? I don't know.
It's all a factor.
Old people need less sleep.
Do they need less sleep?
They do. They do.
Do you think he might be milking the health interest to distract from other things?
No, I think actually that the interest in his health is annoying to him.
I mean, why else would he wear makeup
Yes.
on his
I
bruised
think
hands?
it's annoying to him because it could be true, and whatever, it diminishes his authority.
Okay, we'll be back with more comments on Thursday, but thank you for sending them in. Don't forget to, and again, join the Daily Beast community where you get all sorts of extras. Extras, yeah. Okay, Michael Wolff, fare thee well.
Joanna Coles.
Don't forget to be Beast. And a big thank you to our Be Beast level members.
Karen White, Heidi Riley, Connie Rutherford, Sharon Shipley, Andrea Hodel, I prefer Hodel, and Free DC. Thank you.
And do you want to thank our production team?
Devin, Anna,
Jesse.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Excellent.